What's up YouTube, it's TF Collector, and today I'll be reviewing the Transformers Studios series More Than Meets the Eye collection, Perceptor with RATBAT and RAMHORN from the Transformers the movie. So of course, before we take a look at the figure, we're going to take a look at the packaging. Right on the front we have a nice picture of RATBAT, Perceptor, and RAMHORN. He transforms in 17 steps. Transformers Studios series More Than Meets the Eye collection, Perceptor, RATBAT, RAMHORN, Hasbro, the Transformers the movie. On this side we just have a continuation of that image and some stuff going on there. On this side, a picture of Perceptor. You see his name there. He's of course Studio series, no class listed on the box. Deluxe Voyager Leader. Perceptor is a deluxe, but he costs a Voyager price point due to the inclusion of these two, but we'll talk more about that later. Of course, on the back, you have a screen grab of Perceptor fighting RATBAT there. The Transformers the movie Autobot Perceptor. Perceptor tells Blaster to radio for reinforcements during the Battle of Autobot City. Some nice images there of all the figures you get. Hasbro Transformers on the bottom, barcode on the top, the Transformers the movie, and all the figures you get. And one last thing before we get to the figure itself, he does of course include his instruction manual, Perceptor, RATBAT, RAMHORN, Studio Series, all their names, the Transformers the movie. On the back, whoop, Takara and Hasbro. And moving along here is Perceptor as his little microscope that he transforms into in the movie and the cartoons. And as I previously stated, this is a deluxe class figure. He was previously released as a deluxe, but due to the inclusion of the little mini-cons, he does not have a scale price thing. He's a Voyager price point. He's a deluxe figure with two really core class figures alongside him, but they didn't label him as any class size. So this is just Perceptor with RATBAT and RAMHORN. No class to be studied. But coming in close on the details, you can see they did use a nice bright red finish on this figure. He does have an Autobot logo right in there, and you have your little tray table so you can look at some bacteria or Autobot parts, whatever you're into. On this side you have some dials. On this side you have some dials. The dials do not rotate. I know, so sad. But you can see nice molded detailing all throughout, all through this panel. Overall, not much to talk about. He's just a microscope. Another dial here, once again, doesn't rotate. On the back, they did add that panel there. We'll see that more in robot mode. But overall, a pretty good looking little microscope there. And for a little bit of articulation here in the Perceptor microscope mode, you can move this up and down like that if you want. You can untab it. You can boots and cats totally in the microscope mode, but really you're just supposed to move this piece up and down. And yeah, that's about all you get. And one last thing to mention here on the microscope mode, they did mold in these little treads, but they do not roll. Yes, I know, so sad. But to earn the Voyager class price point, I suppose is the way to put it, he does come with a slew of accessories, the first of which is his little red blaster that he came with in the original figure. You can see just a little red blaster, and this can store. You just plug it right there on the side. There you go. Storage. Yay. Stores right there. And he also comes with, of course, RATBAT and RAMHORN, who we will talk more about in a second. But if you want, you can totally plop one of them down. Oh, well, stay please. And he can be checking them out. You can totally do that if you want. And two other things he comes with are really RATBAT and RAMHORN's accessories, but they are also used for Perceptor, apparently, because he can hold them in robot mode, and you can also store them here, kind of, sort of. You can store this one. You can plug it over here on this side if you want. You have a port, you can plug that in, and when it comes to this one, you just open this up, and there's a port. You can plug it on the leg, on that side. Do whatever you want. You get a slew of accessories, which is much appreciated. And for a quick comparison here in microscope mode, here is Perceptor with the original Studio Series 86 Perceptor. So you can see they did overall give this guy a much brighter and better looking, in my opinion, red. Along with the blue. The blue is more similar to the old one. The red is much brighter, but you can see what they changed. Of course, they got rid of the translucent piece and went with the normal old plastic, which is much appreciated. And once again, you get that panel there on the back, which makes that look much cleaner, but just a quick turnaround. Overall, I think the paint job here on the new version does look much better. And as previously mentioned, you do get RATBAT and RAMHORN both in this set. And just so you can get a closer look, there is RAMHORN. He is, of course, a cassette tape. So cute, little Autobot logos. They did paint the silver little pieces there on him, but overall, he's a cassette tape, not much to say. Here's RATBAT. I guess these are supposed to be those silver pieces on him, but you can see nice molded detail, not but much paint on the back. See his head there, but those are two pretty cool accessories you get with this figure. And if you have any version of the Netflix Soundwave or the 86 blaster here, you can of course bring in your cassettes and they can totally store in their little cassette tape sections. So you can just push RAMHORN in there and close him up. He can be in Blaster's chest, and you can take RATBAT, and this is a little bit of a tight fit. You can barely get it sometimes. There you go, just squeeze him in there, and he's a really tight fit. He doesn't want to cooperate. There you go. He can totally fit in Soundwave's chest. And we are supposed to be getting a 86-liter Soundwave next year. Can't wait to get that figure in hand. But moving back to Perceptor, I don't have much more to say about him. He's a cool looking microscope, but we're going to go ahead and transform him. So the first thing we can do is just pop this little section up. It will tab in. We'll work on the legs. Very straightforward transformation. Just bring that section down and straighten the leg out. Bring it down at the waist and then straighten the leg out. Flip the toes forward as toes shall be facing. Untab these sections and bring them out. Start to bring them up. Don't bring them up all the way yet, though. We're going to have to do one other thing before we do that. Bring this piece, just rock that back. Untab this section from this side and bring it over, and then rock that piece upward. Just bring this section over, and now you can see there are little tabs on each side that these little blue sections on these shoulders will go into. So just tab that in and rotate the arm 180. Same thing on the other side. Tab that in, rotate 180. You can now go ahead and flip out his hands because he needs hands to work on Autobots. So just flip his hands out like that, and then come around to this back section, pull this panel down, and there's his head. Flip it out, pull that panel back up, just tab that right back in. And there, whoa, come around, there we go. And there is Perceptor in his robot mode. And I do think this is a slight improvement over the original Perceptor. I like the way this figure turned out, but coming in close on the details, you can see the head sculpt. You got a little bit of yellow with the gray helmet, of course. Blue eyes, looking very beautiful. You have your Autobot logo there. This is, of course, now a piece of painted plastic, which is awesome. Much better than the translucent plastic. But moving down the body, just a much nicer shade of red. Really pops compared to the original figure. You still have your big old microscope there, of course, and that tab down in there. But overall, you can see the back. Much nicer now that you don't have a big hollow section there. You have that panel covering it up. But overall, I am pretty pleased with the way this little Rego at Perceptor has turned out. But, of course, what is a Transformer without their articulation? So I'm going to tell you what he can do. The head can rotate a full 360 on a ball joint. He can look up just a tad, look down just a tad. This piece can move out to the side if you need it to. You can untab it and have it pointing up like that, or you can double untab it and boots and cats totally if you want to. The shoulders can do a full 360. They can move in and out. You do have bicep rotation. You have 90 degrees at the elbow, nothing at the wrist. Wah. You do have a waist swivel. Legs can kick forward that far. Backward, way on back there, outward. Whoa, don't break your leg. You can do the full splits. As you can see, you can break his leg that way or break his leg that way, whatever floats your boat. But you do have thigh rotation. You do have over 90 degrees of bend at the knee. The toe can move down, and you do get a very deep ankle pivot. So overall, this is a very posable figure. And you can totally arm up your Perceptor, but you do have options because you also have these pieces that come with RATBAT and RAMHORN. So you can store this on his shoulder there if you want. You can kind of get it plugged into his leg if you want, or of course you can have him holding it, which is what I personally will be storing him with. But you do have options when it comes to these pieces. You can take this little piece and you can plug that into his hand if you want, or store it in any of those other points, or you can take this piece and flip these two missile launchers forward like so, and you have a little tab right there that can just plug in wherever you want. But me personally, I'm just going to be sticking with the normal old blaster. You can just plug that in right there, and the tip is accessible with the effect parts if you have any to use. And for some scientific comparisons, first here is Perceptor with the original 86 Perceptor, and as you can see, once again, this one really just pops and looks way better. Why they didn't do this originally with this, we all know why, so they can make more money off of the figure, but this one does look way better in my opinion, especially the colors just really pop. But just giving you a quick 360, especially here on the back, much better with that new panel they've added, but from any angle, the colors do look much better on this new version, and the chest plate without the translucent plastic also looks very nice. Here is Perceptor with a few other 86 Autobots you might have in your collection: Commander Prime, Deluxe Bumblebee, and Voyager Blaster, so you can see how he scales with some other Autobots you might have floating around in your collection. And last but not least, here is Perceptor with a CG image of how he appeared in the 86 movie and the G1 cartoon. And as you can see, they definitely did a even better job this time around with this figure. Love the way he has turned out in this go at the character. But of course, we must also talk about RATBAT and RAMHORN. We will start with RATBAT. To transform him, you just flip these pieces down like so. Flip this piece down like so. His head is on a double hinge, which is really stiff on mine. We'll just bring his head forward and flare his wings out. Bring his little footsies down, and then bring in this piece, this little jetpack piece, and basically that tab is just going to cram up in there. And there you go. There is RATBAT. A very simple transformation, of course. And RAMHORN is the same, very simple. Just kind of get your hand in there and pop his head out. Come on. Bring it around. Flip his little horn up. There you look at him, got a little horn. And then come here to the sides. Just get your fingernail in there and pull on this section. And then that will bring the front leg up. So you can just flip both of those legs out. Do the same thing over here. Just get your fingernail in there. Bring both of those sections out. And then they're on hinges, so just bring them down and then bring in his accessory. And basically what you're going to want to do here is go ahead and fold these pieces forward a little bit, and you can see there's a little groove right up in there. I don't even know if you can see it, but basically that's going to groove underneath of that piece, so just bring that up. And basically how this will lock in, as you can see, there's a tab on the side there that will slot in right there, so just tab those in. And there you go. There are RATBAT and RAMHORN in their beast, I suppose, modes. And to take a quick closer look at both of these guys, here's RATBAT. You can see, nice head sculpt, very G1 accurate. He's got his big old wings, his little purple feet, his big old jetpack looking thing back there, and overall looks pretty cool. And if we bring in RAMHORN, you can see a little bit of white used on the eyes. He's got his horn, got some silver and Autobot logos. Some gold there for the missiles. You get a little tail. But that's RAMHORN, and there you have your little mini-cons that you get with this set. And yes, your mini-cons can barely articulate. You can flap his wings up and down so happily. And of course, his head is on the double hinge, so you can use that however you want. And RAMHORN, you can make him look up. You can make him look sad. And all four legs just move forward and backwards. So not much articulation, but you do get some. And for some quick little comparisons for them, here is RATBAT with Ravage and Laserbeak that came with the Netflix Soundwave. Hopefully we will get new, better versions of them with the 86 Soundwave next year. But there is RATBAT with those two legends. And here is RATBAT. If we can get down here so we can get a little better look at little RATBAT, bring him a little closer. Here he is with CG model of RATBAT, and isn't he just the cutest? He is so awesome. And for RAMHORN, here he is with Eject and Steeljaw. Aren't they so cute? They're so cute. And of course, here he is with CG RAMHORN. Oh, so cute. He's so beautiful. And because I know someone will want it, yay, family portraits. So that is my review for the Transformers Studios series More Than Meets the Eye collection, Perceptor, RATBAT, and RAMHORN. And overall, this is by no means a must-have, especially if you already have an 86 Perceptor. Me personally, I bought this figure because of the mini-cons. I'm going to be straight up honest. I wanted RAMHORN, I wanted RATBAT. I don't have them in my collection anywhere, and I like having every character represented in my collection that I can. So I picked this up for those two guys, especially since we have that 86 Soundwave coming out next year and already have a blaster. Perceptor himself is much nicer, in my opinion, than the original version, especially that new chest plate and the new panel they put on the back along with the new paint that they gave him. Looks much better. Just wish they could have done that with the original version. That way people didn't feel like they wanted the better version, so they had to buy this. But you know, that's the Hasbro trap. Make a figure, repaint it better, make it better, get rid of translucent plastic, make you pay for it again. That's the Hasbro trap. That's just the way they do it, and that's the way they've always done it, and the way I'm sure they always will do it. But overall, I do enjoy this figure. I don't have complaints about it. If you don't already have 86 Perceptor, I would recommend that you get this one instead, simply because you're getting a better Perceptor and two pretty cool little mini cons that just make me want to talk like this. But overall, this is a pretty cool set. It is, of course, a Target exclusive, so if you want it, you're going to have to order it on Target, but it was sold out last time I saw it, so you're going to have to drive to Target and physically get it if you can find it. Me personally, I got it on pre-order in time, but good luck finding it at your Target. Who knows what this will go for on the aftermarket. But that's my review for the More Than Meets the Eye Collection Studios series, Perceptor, RATBAT, and RAMHORN. If I had to give them a grade out of 10, I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10. Don't feel like I can go any higher simply because this is just a slightly retooled and repainted figure with two mini cons, but it does get a solid 8. I think it's 3 fun figures that you can certainly have some joy messing around with. So it's an 8 out of 10 from me. Don't forget, never sacrifice the things you love for the approval of others. I have a very big figure in the mail on the way, so you're going to want to stay tuned for the next review. I don't know how I'm going to get the lighting to work and how I'm going to find the space, but that's just your little tease of who's coming next. So I'll see you soon with that figure, and until then, roll out. Peace.